Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to talk about what you took away from this movie. Do you need me to do a race?
Yeah.
All right. From this, I said movie. From Sal Khan's little 10-minute talk.
I think my main takeaway was sort of the lagging data that they showed.
All right.
So, like in China, they had a graph with two types of data, and they had the actual confirmed cases and sort of the true number of cases that they were able to figure out after it happened.
Okay.
So the actual confirmed cases just kind of went something like this, and then kind of leveled off and went down.
All right.
And then the actual cases sort of started going up a lot before, and then went down like this. So
okay, so why don't you can you label what this graph is?
This is confirmed.
You're gonna need to write larger than that.
Okay, this is confirmed cases that were tested, and this is sort of retrospective. This is the actual cases. So, because what they were able to do is, if they tested a person and they tested positive for the confirmed cases here, they asked them like how many days ago did they contract the symptoms, and then they were able to place these tests that they did here on this day back when the people first got them. Okay. So, like these people might have gone back over here. So when they shut down the city, they found afterward that it did help to limit the new cases, even though it looked like the cases were still going up. But people had just contracted the symptoms prior to being tested. Like if there are a bunch of people over here who all had symptoms, and maybe some of them got tested or some of them contracted the symptoms on this day, and some of them on this day. But it did help to dramatically lower the number of actual new cases, is what they found after the fact.
Okay, so this curve here, the one that's on the shifted a little bit to the right, was what people were seeing in real time.
So it's the positive tests per day.
So you were going through, as the virus was spreading in China, this is the data that was coming in on this graph as people got tested, and you saw the number of cases rising. This other graph that you labeled as actual, what is that?
So this is the actual number of new cases per day that was actually happening.
Okay, and why couldn't we see that in real time?
Oh, because
what are some reasons?
People who get tested, they tested a couple days ahead of when they got the symptoms. They didn't test as soon as they got the symptoms. Like they got the symptoms, and then maybe it got worse, and then they got tested.
Yeah, like maybe that was the 5 days later or something that we were talking about, and when your brother was talking. So you can't see this curve in real time. So you don't know. Sometimes even if you're sick, even if you have it, you don't know. You can only see this curve how?
After like a few days later, after you ask people like when did they first see those symptoms.
Right.
And also there's like a 2 to 14 day period before you like notice when you have the symptoms, so you'd have to go back even farther.
Yeah, that's right. Is there anything else you want to add?
I guess this graph sort of shows how the drastic measures that were put into place did help flatten the curve out.
Yeah, actually, do we have the marker handy? Is there a marker anywhere nearby? Okay, yeah. Why don't you mark when approximately on your two graphs when the city was shut down, as he said in the video?
I think it was like here.
goes.
It was just as this confirmed graph was starting to pick up.
Okay. So yeah, this is really interesting. So once the city is shut down, and let's pretend this is like 2 weeks here, what do you expect to see once the city is shut down?
You do expect to see a rise in confirmed cases, but that's because there is still a lag, sort of. But then in a few days, you should expect to see the number of confirmed cases per day going down.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting. You don't necessarily, when you shut down everything, you don't see this slowing down in the spread of the actual cases because you don't know where they are, and that only shows up a few weeks later. Yeah, it's really interesting. Okay, so one more quick video, maybe 2 minutes.